Today I have another new album review, and this one is from Dale Crover, who is one of the pioneers of grunge music and has played with Melvins and Nirvana. The name of the album is Glossolalia, which is a word I had to Google, and it means the phenomenon of apparently speaking an unknown language, especially in religious worship. It is practiced especially by Pentecostal and charismatic Christians. It's important to know because it will be relevant in the title track, which I will get to. The album also features a few guests such as Kim Thayil, the guitarist of Soundgarden, Segall, who is a garage rock solo artist, Rob Crow, another solo artist who has been in a number of alternative rock bands, and Tom Waits, a well-known experimental rock musician and actor. This is Dale Crover's third solo album. It follows 2017's The Fickle Finger of Fate and 2021's Rat-a-tat-tat. But he's back in 2024, the new album, Glossolalia. The album has 11 songs. He recorded the demos at home and later re-recorded the final album with longtime Melvins engineer Toshi Kasai. The album sounds very 90s to me. It sounds like something that came out in the grunge era, which I like because not a lot of bands are doing that right now. His previous albums may have been more experimental, but this one's very straightforward and it will bring back some memories of the 90s. The album kicks off with the title track, Glossolalia. The song was inspired by an event that transpired when Dale was in high school. One time, he was playing drums at a church and he saw one of his classmates at the service. She was getting really into the song and then she starts speaking in tongues. So Dale wanted to recreate that in the song. So he had Tom Waits record some voice tracks of what is supposed to be Glossolalia that were added to the song. And Toshi Kasai also recorded some voice tracks, and they were incorporated into the song. You can hear that right at the beginning. It's a jangly pop rock song with Dale Crover playing guitar, bass, and drums. Toshi Kasai plays some surf rock style keyboards. I thought the track was pretty cool. You can hear weird voices in the intro. The rest of the song sounded like alternative rock mixed with surf music. The drumming is also pretty cool, and it gives me a garage rock type of vibe. Doug Yuletide is the next song. It's the first of collaborations with the guitarist Dan Southwick. The title of this song matches up the name of the Velvet Underground member Doug Yule and the holiday season. The mid-tempo guitar riffs also inspired by the music of the Velvet Underground. This was another cool song. It reminded me of that song Pets by The bass line was in the forefront and the guitarist had a slightly distorted sound, and the guitar solo sounded a lot like psychedelic rock. I Quit is one of the first two songs to feature Kim Thayil. Dale Crover was inspired by Gary Newman on this track. This one had some thicker and heavier guitar riffs and had a sound mixing noise rock and grunge. They also get a little experimental in this track with some strange electronic sounds in the background. I got some Sonic Youth vibes from the song. I also like how they changed tempos throughout the song and also has some different layers of sound, and there's some cool guitar harmonics as well. Blowed Up is a song with some mambo-like drums and a fist-pumping chorus. The song is based on Dale's reflections on relationships. It's one that sounded mixed grunge of early Nirvana and some new wave or post-punk of the early 80s. This actually reminded me of some of those early Devo albums, which I hadn't listened to in a long time. The song has a cool breakdown with some isolated drums and some weird psychedelic stuff going on in the background. Rings is the second of two songs to feature Kim Thayil. Pretty cool song and a very groovy sound. It was a little more laid back. Also had some interesting guitar work. Also had classic rock vibes. I thought the drumming was very good on this track as well. It's one of the bouncy beat and was just a fun track. I could also hear some backing vocals, so I thought that was cool as well. The guitar solo gave me some psychedelic rock vibes. Jane is a tribute to British-French actress and singer Jane Birkin, who passed away last year. The song is a tribute to her. This was a fun, bouncy, upbeat track that was filled with energy, had a sound that was like the pop rock songs of the 60s. I Waited Forever is a song that features Rob Crow, who plays guitar and does backing vocals for two different bands. This is a power pop song about control, which is a topic that's explored throughout the album. The song also features lead guitar by Segall. This was another fun song that was melancholic and pretty laid back. Had lots of those grungy power chords and sounded like a typical alternative rock song from the 90s. There was also some thick, distorted bass in the second half of the album. Don't Worry About It featured Rob Crow. The song was about dealing with anxiety with the future and was inspired by the Beatles' I'm Only Sleeping. This was more of a slow-moving and laid-back track. Spoiled Davies is another song that features lead guitar by Segall. I thought it was a fun track and a little bit more of that upbeat. It had a bouncy rhythm, gave me some psychedelic rock vibes. I like the tone of the guitar that was very reminiscent of the rock music of the 60s, which kind of reminded me of bands like The Who or other similar bands. Kitten Knife was inspired by Robert Louis Stevenson's classic Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and has Dale Crover on lead guitar. This was another pretty cool song that explored some darker tones but still maintained that bright pop rock quality that we've been hearing throughout the album. Punchy is the final song and the second of the collaborations with Dan Southwick. The song was inspired by a dream that Dan Southwick had about Dale Crover, who provides vocals, and the song does so in like this trance-like fashion. This is one of those slow-moving songs that kind of has that dreamy atmosphere, and it makes sense because that's what I said, it's about a dream. But I thought it's pretty cool. It's one of the more laid-back tracks, and this has some experimental sounds, and they go into some psychedelic rock territory. So in conclusion, this was a fun alternative rock album. I think all the songs were pretty good. I'm not saying there were any tracks that I consider to be filler tracks, but at the same time, there was a little bit of similarity between the tracks throughout the album. I think if I have anything critical to say is that there were times I wanted it to be a little heavier, but I know Dale was probably not going for that sound. It's a solo album. He's not expected to replicate a Melvins album, even though every Melvins album is kind of different from one to the next. But I think if you like some laid-back alternative rock with elements of psychedelic rock from the 60s, it's a pretty cool album to check out. If you missed the 90s, it's definitely a really cool album for that. With that being said, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10, only because it's missing a little bit of heaviness. That's what I wanted. I guess that's just my preference. I think a good comparison would be Soundgarden's Down on the Upside album, where they went into all that psychedelic rock territory, something along those lines. And that is all. Please check out this video here called New Metal Releases of April 19th. And I'm choosing this video for my end screen because I did a short review of Melvins' Tarantula Heart, which was their most recent album, and something that was completely different than what this is. So I thought that would be appropriate for the next video for you to watch. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Please like this video. Helps me with the user algorithm. Please subscribe if you're not already. I do rock and metal reviews. I do classic rock reviews. Channel memberships are up. Check them out. You can see what that's all about on my homepage. And I'll see you in the next one.